quite a lot. At first I didn't realise the enormity of it probably, but it was quite a humbling acknowledgement of my passion for the industry and for what I can bring to it. But I also realised how much I've gained from the dairy industry as well. I'd love to see a future where we produce food that is highly valued and highly sought after in terms of its nutritional properties and its natural story, but also an industry where we give as much as we take when it comes to our land, our people and our animals. I think to acknowledge leadership efforts, to show what amazing things women in the industry are doing and what we can achieve, but also to ensure that we have some strong role models for other young women to aspire to. I definitely wish we could give more awards because there's so many amazing women out there doing great things in the industry. So I think so. It gives a lot of exposure and not always it's out of my comfort zone. I don't normally like to be in the limelight, but it's been really good putting me outside of my comfort zone in terms of forcing me to look at how I can be a better leader, how I can use that influence to get some good outcomes for the industry. It's challenged me to step up. It's also given me the courage, this is a really big thing, to tell my personal story. So over the last few years since receiving the award, I've spoken to a whole range of different audiences about when they ask me about my leadership journey, and I tell the story of my personal story, which is quite deep, and for a long time I found it really hard to tell, but that was a massive learning for me in terms of it resonated with people, because what you then realise is everybody has a story to tell, and if you're able to tell your personal story in a way that others can relate to it, that's where it has impact, and we've got to get better as an industry at telling our story better. So I took a whole lot of knowledge away in terms of the content from the lectures, but what I've tried to do for that question is look up a few quotes from my notes, because to help summarise what I took away from it. One of the quotes being, "Only 3 things happen naturally in an organisation, that is friction, confusion and underperformance. The rest, everything else requires leadership." So that was a big thing in terms of understanding that we need leadership in our industry, within our farming businesses, within our organisations to actually achieve what we want to achieve. The other massive thing I've taken away, and in terms of you talk about application in the context of our industry, as a primary sector we must work together to sell our products to the world and maintain our licence to operate in New Zealand. We have got a bit of work to do in that space in terms of all aligning across the primary sector, especially when our sector comes under pressure when it comes to water and greenhouse gases and licence to operate. We tend to all back ourselves into different corners across different industries. We cannot afford to do that. That was one of the major things I took away from, I guess, the learnings of that week, and we've got to be better at uniting in our primary sector. So I just recently went to Stanford University, which was a very enlightening experience. It's called their Tohono Boot Camp. It's designed specifically for the primary sector, and they take world-leading lecturers in management and innovation and leadership, and design a week-long course especially for our primary sector leaders. So I was there alongside 72 other primary sector leaders, and it was an amazing immersion for the week in all things leadership and innovation and management and transformation of our industry.